Another important specific pedogenic process is your laterization. So what is laterization? Quite interesting, we'll see. So laterite means it's derived from a word called later, means it's a brick or a tile. Why? Because we'll see. Because once these soils were exposed to the atmosphere, they become very hard and become a brick hardness will be there. Just like these are the lateritic stones. Mostly in Odisha, in some districts, they used to construct a home with this type of stone. So, what is that? In tropics, especially in tropical climate, certain soils are massively impregnated with sesquio oxides to an extent of almost 70 to 80 percentage of total mass. So, this much amount of sesquio oxides will be left out in the soil and forms a cemented horizon. And this accumulation leads to form a very hard cemented horizon. So when it was dries up, when this was exposed to the environment, what will happen is become very hard like a brick. It's becoming very hard like a brick. So like this, the horizons, the special lateritic horizons looks like this. So the soil formation process is called as laterization. This process, this accumulation of sesquio oxides is called as laterization or lotosization. Mostly this type of soils are highly, we can see near the Malabar hills of Kerala and some parts of Khorda and Denkanal districts of Odisha. Let us see. What is laterization? Laterization is unlike a podzolization. Silica is removed, leaving sesquio oxides to the remain in the soil. So what is happening in podzolization? Silica will be present there and sesquio oxides will be removed. But in laterization, we can see there is accumulation of sesquio oxides will be there and removal of silica will be taken place. So what are the favorable conditions for the laterization? So definitely there should be a warm and humid tropical climate should be there, and there should be a rainfall around 2000 to 2500 millimeters rainfall should be there, and temperature should be around more than 25 degrees Celsius. And all these conditions, all these three conditions should be present throughout the year. All this warm, humid climate and this rainfall day intensity and this more than 25 degrees Celsius should be present in the throughout year. Followed by this tropical forest area soil should be there. And sometimes what happens is due to these climatic conditions, due to this tropical climatic conditions, organic additions will be very less, but organic decomposition will be more, and followed by the basic parent material. Due to the presence of the basic parent material having sufficient ferromagnesia, that is sesquio oxide minerals like pyroxenes, amphiboles, biotite and chloride, are congenial for the development of laterites. So these are all combined, all these things will leads to the formation of a laterite type of soils, or laterization is a very favorable under this type of climatic conditions, or this type of conditions are highly favorable. So this is the theoretical notes for the students. Please follow it. And continuation to my previous lectures. So what happened during this weathering process, what will happen means the ferrous oxide will be converted to ferric oxides, and these oxides will coats on a clay and silt sand particles, imparting a characteristics red color to the soils. Due to the weathering condition, these laterite soils mostly looks very red in color, mostly because of this ferrous and ferric oxide type of iron. And what happened after, and again, these aluminum oxides, hydroxides, because of the weathering, imparts a gray coating to the soil particles. Followed by, and due to the intense high temperature and intense leaching, basic kind of parent metal, which I have already mentioned in my previous slide, all favorable for the removal of silica, that is desiliconization and accumulation of sesquio oxides. So what is happening here? There is a release of iron oxides and there is a release of clay coatings by the aluminum oxides. High temperatures will be there and basic parent material is there. So all these conditions will favor the removal of silica from the soils. That is called the desiliconization. And naturally it will favor for the sesquio oxides accumulation. And the soluble basic cations, whatever the soluble basic cations, are quickly released during the weathering and most freely in the soil profile shoot up the pH to neutral. So what happened due to this intense, all this weathering process was very intense in this year. So all the soluble basic cations will be removed. And due to the presence of the soluble basic cations, your soil profile will be very close to the neutral. But if you see in a podzolization, in contrast to podzolization soils are, you can see there is a distinctively acidic nature will be there because of the accumulation of silica and of course aluminum. So out of all this under basic environmental, silica liberates from the parent material and solubilizes and leads to the leached. It will be leached off. Due to this neutral environment, the silica will be liberated from the parent material and it will be solubilized and leads to the leaching. And the solubilization of quartz amorphous silica increases with increasing temperature, naturally because high temperatures with the tropical type of climate favors the lateralization. And the sesquio oxides, whatever the sesquio, after removing all the silica oxides, the sesquio oxides left behind as are more stable under these conditions. So what is happening here? Due to the environmental conditions, iron oxides will be released and aluminum oxides imparts a gray color. And due to this basic parent material intense leaching, silica will be removed. And due to this solubilization of your basic cations, pH is very close to neutral. So when it is neutral, what happened? Silica, this is another reason silica will be liberated from the parent material and it will be solubilized and will be disappeared in the help of leaching. So like this, the lateritic type of all these points are contributed to the laterization process. And and also the alkaline bases are removed and the seat of their formation. So as the alkaline bases are removed and the residual, the soils are soil acid reaction. So when the alkaline conditions bases were removed, what happened? These soils sometimes ultimately leads to the acidic in reaction. So continuation, though considerably elevation takes place, there is no mark of horizonation as elevated materials are not redeposited in the lower layers. This is very important point we have to remember. So in elevation, what is happening? Even though it is elevation taking place, you can't see there is a marked horizonation. Just like in podzolization, you can see there's a clear cut of horizon differentiation is there. You can see BH horizon, you can see G horizon, and all type of different colored horizons you can see. But in elevation, we cannot see any type of horizon differentiation. It's very difficult while digging profiles in elevated areas. I mean, in a lateralization areas, it's very difficult to identify the elevated layers because here there is no deposition was not there, only leaching of the silica only is there. So laterite, and moreover there is some peculiar properties. Laterite soils are non-plastic, non-cohesive, having a granular structure, and they're low in CC, cation exchange capacity, and low in fertility also, very poor in fertility. Only iron oxides are there. And phosphorus fixation is very high, and plantation crops are usually grown on this type of soils. Very rarely you can see only plant a big tree crops can be grown in this type of soils. Say no to sugar, be healthy. Thank you.